just shared with you. Personally, I believe that immigration is a human phenomenon. She did a great job explaining that. But for all those people who would like to reduce immigration, that's what I gave my speech for today. Some of the bills that I was looking at said that their goal was to discourage and deter immigration. And so I'd like to speak to that. If that is your goal, listen up, I've got some ideas for you. I think the move to criminalize immigration, which is one of all the things that I've seen so far and what's been going on all across the country, those are not going to reduce immigration. If we look at incarceration and criminalization in general, even within the state of Florida, between 1993 2007, our prison population went up 183%. Right? So we said, okay, let's arrest people, let's put them in jail. That's going to solve our crime problem. And we guess how far the crime rate went down? 0.4%. Right? This is showing, and you can see the statistics all over the nation in California, in other states. Imprisoning people does not reduce our crime rate, and that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to make us safer, right? So if we're looking to reduce immigration, and we think that the answer is by putting people in jail and arresting them, that's not going to work for us. I have spent a lot of time in Guatemala, I've spent time in Mexico, and I've spent time sitting at the border at Arizona and talking to people who've been deported and come back, right? The border walls have been built, they've practically militarized our borders. They've put all sorts of heavy sanctions, and has that stopped people from coming in? No. It's just pushed them into more and more desperate conditions. It's pushed people to crossing very severe parts of the desert, dying in deserts. It's made them susceptible to being enslaved in camps, such as here in Florida. We had a lot of the stuff that happened in the southwestern part of the state. All that's really doing is opening up this population to more and more human rights abuses. So I say, if you truly, truly do want to reduce immigration, what you have to do is look at why people are coming, right? I've been in Guatemala, beautiful country, a lot of beautiful customs, people have deep, deep histories there. Does anyone think that people wake up and be like, this place sucks, I'm going to the US? No, right? But they're forced out of there because of economics. And our government, our national government, and a lot of our corporations have had a huge hand in why those people have to leave their country, right? As Isabel mentioned, our CIA was almost single-handedly responsible for overthrowing a very peaceful and populous government in Guatemala. And why? For bananas. Because we wanted cheap bananas, and they threatened to privatize or nationalize a U.S. company and take it back to theirs, right? We have pushed a lot of countries into signing free trade agreements, whether it be NAFTA or the CAFTA, which require the governments to remove protective tariffs, prohibits them from having subsidies, which our nation, agriculture survives on subsidies, and it allows our corporations to sue their governments if they try to take protective measures to protect their laborers and their residents, right? And if you look at statistics, unauthorized immigration from Mexico doubled in the 6 years after they passed NAFTA. We can look at CAFTA, which was passed more recently in 2005, and in El Salvador, immigration from El Salvador increased 146% in that 1 year alone that CAFTA was first passed, right? And why is all this happening? Because here in the US, we want cheap products. We want our businesses to be able to go anywhere across the world and make high profits, right? We talk about, people talk about the cost to, here in taxes or whatever, for when immigrants come over here and want to go to school or anything like that. But the reason why we have so much money and the reason why people are coming after us to get those services is because we get it off their backs in other countries. We get it off their lands in other countries, right? We believe in the free movement of capital and the free movement of products. But wait, whoa, when it comes to free movement of people and laborers, now that's a whole different story. We can't have that, right? So instead, we decide that we're going to criminalize and imprison the victims of our own economic policies. So I say, and here's where I get to my list of how we're going to solve this, right? So I say if Florida wants to get our hands in doing federal business, such as regulating immigration, I say we make our first move to advocate for the repeal of CAFTA, NAFTA, and put a total end to the Free Trade America, FTAA. That we demand that we move our military out of these other countries and stop providing economic aid to the militaries of other countries, because our military budget is the biggest portion of our national budget, right? And then as individuals and as entities that we move to support fair trade economics. Because if people can survive and flourish in their own countries, then they're not going to feel pushed to come here. So,
Thank you.
go for that.
Thank you. We have James Kearney.